Hi, everybody, and welcome to another video from me, Ross Ballom of Ballom Law. So today we are going to look at a Cook Islands Asset Protection Trust case, and this is the most famous Cook Islands case, which worked really well. And so this is an example of when an asset protection trust does work. So the case is known as the Anderson case. The actual name of the case is FTC versus Affordable Media LLC. So as ever, I have prepared a structure chart and I'll put that up on the screen now. So what you can see is that classic and quite simple trust, just a Cook Islands trust with some underlying assets. We don't actually know from the case where the assets were. I suspect that they probably were in a Cook Islands bank as well. But nevertheless, the structuring around this was quite good. Even though Denise and Michael Anderson, as you can see on the chart, are all over the place. They are the settlers, they were the protector, they were the sole beneficiaries, and they were also a co-trustee. So you can be a co-trustee on your trust. Here at Ballom Law, we do not recommend it. And most professional trust companies will not accept it either. But what they did have in this case was that they would be removed from certain positions when there was any suspicion of duress or any court action against them, made it automatic that they were removed from these positions. And so they, even though they had a lot of power at the start, they did relinquish that, and that sort of saved the trust. It was really the actions of the main professional trustee in the Cook Islands that saved this. So let's have a look a bit about the background on what actually happened and what this case is all about. So as I said, it's known as FTC versus Affordable Media LLC. It's known as the Anderson case. And the FTC stands for the Federal Trade Commission. So this is one of the really big, powerful bodies in the US. So Denise and Michael Anderson were a husband and wife, and they were involved in a telemarketing venture that offered investors the chance to participate in a project that sold such modern marvels as talking pet tags and water-filled barbells by means of late-night television commercials. So you can see where this is going already. Although the promoters promised that an investment in the project would return 50% in a mere 60 to 90 days, the venture was in fact a Ponzi scheme, which eventually unraveled and left thousands of investors with tremendous losses. Now, the Andersons actually raised about 13 million from gullible North Americans, and they kept 6 million for themselves as a commission, which ended up in their Cook Islands trust. Now, when the Federal Trade Commission caught up with them and brought against a complaint against the telemarketing duo, they simply claimed that they were innocent dupes and were not a sort of modern day Bonnie and Clyde. Now, 3 years before being sued by the FTC, the Andersons had established this Cook Islands Trust. And as I said, they'd been transferring their profits into it. The FTC sued Affordable Media LLC, which was their company in America, and the Andersons, and sought to recover the assets for the defrauded investors. Now, what was key was that the court ordered as well that they repatriate the assets held in the Cook Islands Trust. Now, the Andersons claimed that they had relinquished control over it and could not comply. One of the reasons the FTC gave this order was because they knew that the Andersons were the protector on the trust and a co-trustee. But the Andersons had resigned those positions. And so they were saying, look, sorry, we're not in these positions. We can't do anything. What do you want to do about it? And the FTC had an answer, which was that they slung them in jail. And they did that because they found that they were in contempt of court for not following the instructions. So it was interesting because the trust worked. Yeah, the assets were protected, but when the actual Andersons wanted the money sent back, the trustee refused, and that meant that they were sat in jail. So it's almost like it worked a bit too well. The Cook Islands trustee just simply refused to comply with the US court order. and they argued that the Andersons were under duress. So I guess, you need to further think about when you set these trusts up is how far are you willing to go to protect these assets? Are you prepared to rot in jail? And some people are. Some people are, I do not want anyone getting near those assets, even if it means that I've got to go to jail or I lose assets elsewhere. Then these things work. But if you're kind of, your heart's half in it, and maybe there's a scenario where you want to sort of give in, then that needs to be coded into the trust deed. And we do normally do that. You do put into the trust deed if there's, an successful action against the settlor, or if the settlor requests, the trust could relinquish the assets. But in this case, the Cook Islands trustee was adamant that they needed to protect the assets no matter what. And the Cook Islands courts agreed. They nullified the US orders and maintained the trustee position in protecting the assets. So instead of pushing further, the FTC in this case actually in the end settled out of court. And this really highlights the success that can occur in a well-structured Cook Islands Asset Protection Trust. And here it worked against one of the most powerful federal bodies in America. So you need to think about how far you're prepared to go. But the Anderson case is the case for the Cook Islands that shows that they can work very successfully. And as we mentioned in other videos that you can look on the channel, it also is very important where you put your assets. But here is a tale of a successful asset protection trust, but it's also a cautionary tale because you have to decide when you set these things up is how far you prepared to go. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on another video here on the Ballum Law Ross Ballum channel.